saying from the other songs.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 510. It's Sunday, May 12th, 2013, 10 p.m. Pacific Time. Internet talk radio for your imagination. Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on Earth located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. Today we hear from Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster. Plus we bring you this segment Into an Interview featuring the amazing band from Atlanta, Velle and the Soulphonics.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And the new Pope Francis proclaimed something today that puts the Catholic Church in a bit of a fix.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
He canonized today 800 Italian Ottoman victims. Within 2 months, Pope Francis has proclaimed more saints than any of his predecessors. Good for him. The 800 victims were from 1480 AD, and they were beheaded in the southern Italian town of Otranto after refusing to convert to Islam. So you see, that doesn't bring up any hard feelings between the Catholic Church and Islam.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Pope Francis today also canonized 2 Latin Americans who happen to be nuns.
Mike's
Laura Montoya
Daily
and Maria Guadalupe
Podcast.
Garcia Zavala.
Yeah!
And they both died in the 20th century. And actually, Mother Laura Montoya is Colombia's first saint. She dedicated her life to helping indigenous people. She was also known as Mother Lupita, and she sheltered Catholics during a government crackdown against the faith in the 1920s. Isn't that fascinating? You know, this show hasn't become all religious just because it's Easter. What? It's not Easter? Oh, it's Mother's Day. It's that other holiday. And actually, the day is almost over, so I hope you had a great Mother's Day. Celebrating the fact that you are a mom, or that you had a mom, or, you know, maybe you had a mom and you weren't that crazy about her. Maybe you had a mom and you were nuts about her, but she's no longer with us. Maybe you had a bunny rabbit as a mom. Wait, it's not Easter. Dang it, why do I keep going back to that? Strange. Oh, look who just walked in. Hi, Mike. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. How y'all doing?
And it's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
I am not a Catholic. I'm a Baptist, so I don't believe any of that hoo-hoo-hooey about popes and whatnot.
Well, it's all interesting. You know, the history goes way back, so I find it interesting. I just read a book about it called Absolute Monarchs. That's why I find it kind of interesting.
Yeah, whatever. I don't believe in magic and whatnot, and that the Pope is some kind of strange wizard with magical flowers and powers, and he flies around on a carpet.
Okay, you got all of that wrong. Although magical flowers would be pretty neat.
I know it would be, wouldn't it?
True. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mac. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, boy.
Brewmaster, how's it going with your brew pub?
Going great. People are coming into the last place on earth in Podcastro Valley, California to get some of my delicious root beer.
And they're liking it?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
They drink it, and then they start to foam at the mouth, and then I have to call an ambulance. I don't know. Does that mean they like it?
Maybe not.
I made a delicious root beer in honor of Pope Francis canonizing a lot of people.
Oh, let's take a look at that. Oh, that's interesting. It's root beer in a cannon. Okay, I'm pouring myself some right now. That's interesting. Why'd you put it in a cannon?
Isn't it obvious?
Well, canonization doesn't have anything to do with a canon. It has to do with the steps that the Catholic Church popes take to making someone a saint.
I thought it had to do with a cannon.
Well, it doesn't.
I'm embarrassed. You embarrassed me live on your podcast. Oh, boy.
All right.
Have some of my root beer.
I don't want to foam at the mouth drinking a root beer.
Please?
No. Mike, I can't wait to hear this interview with the band that you got from Atlanta on the Into an Interview segment, because I think people from Atlanta are cool. Yeah, Velle and the Soulphonics. We're going to talk to them in just a little bit, although it was recorded earlier today here on Mother's Day, so we do make mention of mothers. I'm not a mom. Yeah, I know. I do have a horse, though. Uh-huh. Sometimes I mother my horse. That's good. I give her a lot of hay. I bet Nilly's very happy. She is. Good. I'm going to go see her. Bye, Autobots born in here.
Yeah, she says she's going to go feed Nelly, but in fact, she's going to go chase after some hipsters.
She's still into hipsters?
Yeah, she loves them so.
Maybe you could start dressing like a hipster. You know, get rid of the cowboy hat, get rid of the, really backward 1950s attitude that you have. And, maybe you could be more hip. Hipsters are just like the next decade, right? The 1960s. That's what all these young people are trying to be anyway.
Oh, I can't stand the 60s. 70s were cool, though. Urban cowboy.
True. Well, if you love the whole thing of the Pope canonizing all these interesting subjects, or if you find the Catholic Church baffling, or if you find that hipsters are really so darn cool. I mean, who doesn't want to grow their facial hair out and wear old thrift store clothes? It's the bomb. Wait, wrong decade. That's the 90s. That expression. Well, you can email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We read your emails on the segment Emails from Email. Also, email me if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show. And check out the website, mikesdailypodcast.com, where we have the blog and the link to where to listen to us in iTunes. And if you subscribe to us in iTunes, why, please also rate the show and comment on the show so more people will find out about us and we don't languish in obscurity. There's also links to where to find us on Facebook, YouTube, Yelp, Twitter, Spreaker.com, which has a bunch of cool shows. In fact, they've got a neat thing on there. If you get the app on your phone, you can find out shows that are done close to you and listen to local shows in the area that are not funneled through horrible corporate media radio stations. If none of that made sense, never mind. There's also a channel that we have on SoundCloud, too. You can listen to podcasts there as well. We have links to all of that and the podcast picture of the day at mikesdailypodcast.com. Oh, yes, and also the Amazon deal of the day. Today, you can get 30 Kindle romances for $1.99 or less each. Woo! Buy something through that little portal on mikesdailypodcast.com, and we might see some money from Amazon, maybe, if they're nice to us. Corporate media pythons.
Into an interview.
This is Ruby.
Ruby, this is Mike Matthews from Mike's Daily Podcast. I had emailed you this week. And you
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Is Sunday still good?
Yes, I'm doing good, and this sounds great. It'll just be, 15 minutes, you said?
Yeah. We'll keep it short.
Sure.
We'll zip through some of your highlights.
Sounds great.
So, tell me, Ruby, how do I say your last name? Is it Velle or Velle?
It's Velle. It's Velle like Chevelle, the car.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I tried not to overthink it too much when I was picking a stage name, and so that's where I ended up.
It's just that E after the two L's that throws me. I want to do something extravagant like a Velle.
If you want to, that's fine. I don't mind.
Ruby Velle. No, Ruby Velle and the Soulphonics. Thanks for being on Mike's Daily Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And it's Mother's Day today. Are you having any Mother's Day fun?
I am actually working on some deadline stuff for our record label, so I'm not having Mother's Day fun, although I did take care of my mom's gift yesterday. I gifted her with a gardenia bonsai.
Ooh.
Which was very cool. She's quite the botanist, so she enjoys plants and things of that nature, so I sent her that. And a couple other mothers that are important to me, I just, checked in with them and made sure they know that they're amazing.
Aww.
And it's really like mothers that make the world go round,
It's very, very true. And everybody I notice on Facebook is posting pictures with their mom. It's cute.
I know, so cute. I love it.
Well, Ruby Velle, how did you and the Soulphonics get together?
So it started, actually the band itself was put together a little bit before I got into the picture, and they were under a different name with a male lead vocalist, and they were playing in and around Gainesville, Florida.
Oh.
And I hopped over from my beach residence of Melbourne Beach, Florida.
Melbourne.
Yeah,
I've been
familiar?
I think I've been close to it. My mom lives in Daytona Beach, so
nice.
We sometimes drive south there to we went to like Cape Canaveral once.
Right, yeah, Melbourne's a lot less touristy. It's more of just like a little beach town, and there wasn't much to do, but growing up I was always involved in like chorus and all state competitions and studying Italian opera and I don't know, I was getting into some weird stuff there.
Wow.
But anyway, so I went to UF and was going to school there for art history and advertising, marketing, because I really wanted to do something that would align with music and promoting what we do, or what I would eventually do. And so I auditioned for the band at that time, met the leader of the band, Spencer Garn, who is now our keyboardist, producer, and engineer, and co-owner of the record label Gemco Records that we're on. Uh-huh. And I met Scott Clayton, who is the guitar player. And Scott and Spencer and I, kind of realized that we had done as much as we could do at that point in Gainesville and wanted to move on to a bigger city. So we chose Atlanta, and here we are 7.5 years later.
Wow.
In Atlanta. Yeah, so we got our start in Gainesville. It was a really great place to play, local clubs and bars, and there's always new fans, new people coming in and out of the town, so it was a really great experience. I was very fortunate for those early years of just kind of getting our bearings and making some really bad recordings and making some way for some better ones down the road. That's
the way to do it. Yep. And your sound.
Yeah, I was actually just listening to Dave Grohl talk about, the whole arena of musicians nowadays and how it seems like your way to stardom is to sit in line with 800 people. And I'm paraphrasing him, but to sit in line with 800 people and audition and put everything you have on the line for 3 minutes. And if you suck, then you're written off. And he said, what happened to the days where bands just got in a garage like Nirvana and they sucked, when they first started?
Yeah.
And then they turned into one of the greatest bands of all time. So I think there's something to be said about having that incubation period or that time to just, really suck and get your bearings.
Right.
and be okay with that. It's such a process to create music in the first place. So you might as well get comfortable with it. So I'm glad I had that time in Gainesville. And we put out a small little EP of 300 records, I think, that will never be repressed, and no one will ever get those recordings.
Oh, sad.
I say that, but someone will find them and put them on YouTube.
I think the pickers call that woodshedding. The old timers, they used to do woodshedding to get all, get their sound just right.
Absolutely. Someone was telling me the other day about the start of Fish and how they got started. Really interesting story. But
was that
I'll save your podcast from that story.
No, we'll have to do another one about fish then. We'll just talk about fish for now.
It could take a long time, yeah.
And I'll talk about the ice cream from Ben & Jerry's that I like, named after fish. And so, wait, what was that Dave Grohl from? Was that from that South by Southwest thing he did where he...
Yeah, it was from his keynote there, yeah.
Now, did you see that live? I heard you were there at South by Southwest.
I was there, but I didn't get to see that live. We were actually performing at the same time, which often happens at South by, so I didn't get to see that one, or the Stevie Nicks, which I admire her so much, and I really was trying to make it there to see her, but I couldn't, but I did catch it online.
Oh.
And that was a miraculous interview as well. It was so great to get her perspective and to see how humble she is as an artist, and it was just really inspiring.
Well, I will have to check that out, but I am inspired by your sound. It's really fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, that's the whole reason why I had to email you, because I heard it, and I had gotten the Starbucks download of that song Heartlight.
Nice.
Was that back in December?
That was, yes, December 21st to the 25th, Christmas week.
Wow.
Great Christmas present for the band, yes.
It is a fantastic song and so retro. I had to look at it because...
Thank you.
I put my music on shuffle and just listen to a bunch of music that's on my hard drive. And sometimes I'm, it's a mix of stuff that goes way back to the early part of the 20th century, and I'm like... What is this? Is this something from I am trying to think of her name, not Ella Fitzgerald, but the other one.